Hello everyone, my name is Lowko and welcome to a best of 2 series of StarCraft 2. I know, best of 2, it's a little bit of a confusing format. What I've got for you today though is supposed to be an amazing set of games where we start off on the map post Youth. Now spawning right here in the top right hand corner, playing with the red Terran SCVs. We have the new world champion of StarCraft 2, joined by the little polar bear on the main command center. Of course, we have none other than Clem. His opponent down in the bottom left, playing with the blue Zerg pieces, a previous world champion of StarCraft 2, and I would probably imagine this is Clem's biggest rival over his entire career so far. We're looking at none other than Reynor's main hatchery. Now this particular series, as of me casting it, was played, well, last night. It was played yesterday, so I guess by the time you're watching this video on the YouTube channel, it was played 2 days ago. It was played on the Sunday afternoon. Anyways, I've heard that these games are amazing, but these two, I'm not exactly sure which series. I'm assuming every single one of the games that they've played was really fun, but they actually played 3 separate best of 2s yesterday. They sent over all the replays, so massive shout out to the WTL for sending over the playoff games, because I've got some Maru replays, I've got some Serral replays, I've got a little bit of everything. So we are certainly gonna have a look, but yeah, Clem and Reynor apparently faced off against each other 3 times in 1 day. And according to some pro gamers, this is some of the absolute highest level StarCraft 2 that has ever been played. Now, I'm not sure exactly which best of 2 series they were referring to, but I guess my plan is to go ahead and have a look at basically all of the games that they played over, well, the course of the next couple weeks. So if you aren't subscribed already, make sure you go ahead and do so you get notified as soon as those videos go live. But we're starting with this one because this is the very first series that they played, and I'm assuming it's gonna be fun. Now, that being said, it's a best of 2 format. Best of 2s are always a little bit confusing. Basically, in the WTL, they use a team league format. So it's not so much about individual results. It's very much so as the results that you get as a team. So they play a best of 2, and ultimately it's the map score that matters. What kind of sucks, I guess, is like a like a YouTube video cast. It can be a little bit messy because sometimes a best of 2 ends in a 1-1 score. And I guess that's, you know, a bit anticlimactic, but he gets a drone kill, not bad at all. Anyways, sometimes it's a little bit anticlimactic, but as always, journey before destination. All right, let's have a look. It's gonna be a quick command center right here for Clem, nothing all too surprising. And he's gonna go straight into the 3rd CC as well. Getting a kill with one of those Reapers against the 15 hatch opener is actually quite nice here for the Terran, because usually the Queens are gonna be able to prevent that easy peasy. Now, the thing about a 15 hatch is that normally your Queens pop earlier, yes, but you also have to skip your Zerglings early on. And that's exactly what Reynor did, so yeah, maybe the Queens were available, but there weren't any Zerglings ready to chase that Reaper down and to prevent that 1 kill. A little bit of sloppiness right there from Reynor, but we can forgive that. He's decided to go for a very interesting start, though. So normally, normally when you open up 15 hatch, you still transition towards a relatively quick 3rd base. Not as quick as with a 16 hatch opener, because the timings just don't line up, but what Reynor has done instead is rush out extra Queens and then another gas geyser. So this is Zergling speed straight into a lair. In my mind, this can only ever be, well, I guess 2 builds. The first one that pops into my head is a MUTA opener. This looks like fast MUTAs. Nice snipe right there by the Hellion, getting that drone kill and once more denying it. Well, he's gonna try and get one more. Or it could be that all-in. Now, that all-in that he played recently against Clem as well, with a 2-base Queen drop, he would have to have started up the Overlord speed upgrade already. So, since that's not the case, and since he is adding on extra gases right now, I think this is him rushing out Mutalisks. Is that what it is? What are we gonna spend our gas on? What are we making the lair for? Well, we're dancing over here at the front. He does get a kill on a Hellion. Oh, that is Overlord speed. Very late Overlord speed now, though. It's Overlord speed together with a Spire. Okay, we're doing both. So, if you've been watching StarCraft 2 for a long time, if you're old, just like me, this used to be the go-to build for Zerg. I mean, it's a more modern iteration of it, but it was essentially 2-base Mutalisks. It fell out of favor very, very hard in 2013 or so, when they introduced the Widow Mine. Because Widow Mines are really good. They're really good at killing clumped up units, and Mutas, they clump up all the freaking time. That being said though, players obviously have gotten a lot faster and just a lot better at the game since then. But yeah, this is Reynor basically rushing out Mutas, going straight into Baneling speed on the back of that too, and I would imagine double evolution upgrades momentarily. So this will probably be good old Mutalisk Zergling. Yeah, it's just like Brood War all over again, but obviously with a bunch of Banelings for support. Okay, now, what exactly is Mr. Clem going to do? Well, he has not really got a clue about what's happening here. He hasn't seen too much, but he did notice that the lair was quite early. Looks like Reynor actually may have tried to play a little bit of a cheeky mind game on the opponent, because he did make a structure and then cancel it after Clem lost vision, although that may have actually been one of the spore crawlers that he was forced to morph in because of that early game Reaper. Anyways, it's gonna be 8 Mutas right here, and then immediately followed up with centrifugal hooks. Clem is autopiloting so far. Mutas are obviously though also weak to Marines. They're also weak to Thors. They're also weak to, well, pretty much Vikings. They're weak to missile turrets, Widow Mines. Basically about 70% of the Terran roster is good against Mutas. He does get a couple medevacs here though, it looks like. Well, 2 Mutas have already died. Yeah, I think ultimately this is gonna get chased down, and the earliness right here of these Mutas is what is really making this look extremely good right now for Reynor. Just because the units come out so quickly here, because Reynor rushed them out, he's dealing a significant amount of damage. I do believe that eventually Clem is going to be able to stabilize with more and more Marines popping out, but this has been a very successful attack so far by the Italian Zerg. Alrighty. So, 9 SCVs, 24 Marines, 2 medevacs, and a siege tank. 3 Mutas in total is very acceptable. My question is, how long is... Well, he's just gonna double down on this aggression. How long is he gonna stick around on Mutas? He's actually fighting the Marines straight up. Normally, those are units that are avoided. Okay, It's a Mutalisk rush. One thing to note, yeah, is that he didn't get any upgrades up until right now. So there's the +1 flyer upgrade, and there's also the evolution chambers coming up, but these are very late. 7.5 minutes into the game, Clem has already finished up 1-1. Reynor hasn't even started up any of the upgrades. Well, other than the +1 flyer. Nice attempt at Baneling roll by here, but Clem a little bit too fast. A little bit too good for that. Okay. Now, I would imagine that the longer that this goes on, the better it's going to be for Clem. Because like I said, Mutas, I mean, they caught the Terran player off guard, right? Clem decided to go across the map with 2 medevacs full of units. He didn't really deal a lot of damage with that, and he lost all those units, and it gave Reynor a little bit of momentum. But right now, it's over, right? Like, right now, I think the age of the Muta has already ended. But maybe I'm mistaken. Reynor is gonna double down, continue making Mutas, and go into those extra upgrades. I think when you go for those extra upgrades, you have to commit to Mutalisks, because those upgrades are not cheap. There is no there's no Infestation Pit transition ready to go into a Hive. There is nothing here that allows him to go into other units. So it's not a transition to anything. I think this is just straight Mutaling Bane. Okay, so Clem managed to stabilize. He's going into the good old safe approach here. He has been forced to go into 1 tech lab here to get the drilling claws upgrade done, but that also works out perfectly because those Thors can obviously shoot their javelin missiles, and if they have a medevac close by, Clem could even think about chasing down the Mutalisks using the medevac boost and lifting up the Thors. It is important to note that Reynor and Clem are the fastest pro gamers in this entire game. So, maybe if you have 600 APM, what I'm getting at, right? Maybe if you're capable of playing at 10 buttons a second, you can make Mutalisk work reasonably well? I like this style though here from Clem. Clem not really rushing anything here. He knows that his opponent might be slightly vulnerable at this point, But Clem is not gonna go for the massive drop style that he has been executing over the last couple of weeks. He's been playing very aggressively, very much so in the opponent's face. But it looks like this style right here from the Zerg player is forcing Terran to just sit back and hang out for a little bit. I wonder if we're gonna see a move out now that 2-2 is finishing. Because this is a very substantial power spike for the Terran. He's also going for armor upgrades for the mechanical units. Armor, of course, because it does benefit the Widow Mines, whereas the Widow Mines do not benefit from any of the attacking upgrades. Normally with siege tanks, you would be seeing the attacking upgrades instead, but yeah, we'll have to see. Moving out against Mutas is also kind of scary for Terran. Love this. Nice little bit of value there from Clem. Moving into a Zerg player, though, like this is dangerous, because fighting this very mobile army of the Zerg on creep, I mean, you can get jumped very easily, but maybe even more scary for the Terran is that Zerg can just counterattack all the freaking time. They don't actually have to be fighting your army head on. Yep, here we go. An attempted run-by at the very least. Now, these are 1-1 lings against 2-2 Terran. I don't think they're going to be able to achieve much, and neither does Reynor, so he decides to go back. Now the Thor got a nice little volley in. Banelings are starting to slip through the cracks, but great micro here by Clem, who's now going to be forced. Ooh, that Widow Mine dealt a bunch of damage to the mineral line, but now he's going to be forced to micro at multiple angles all at once. Immediately, the gold base is going to be evacuated, but at the same time, the Zergling run-by is putting in a tremendous amount of work on the other side of the map. Is there enough here? 2 Javelin missiles, or 3 Javelin missiles even at the same time here would be amazing for Clem. He can very quickly get rid of a group of Mutas if they are clumped up together. So far though, the Widow Mines have not really gotten all the big hits in, right? They've done more friendly fire than, than that they've actually killed anything Zerg related. How many Mutas have died this game? 11. Okay, that's nothing too crazy. It's still quite expensive. Oh, he denies the +3 armor. Clem not expecting that this is where... This is where the game was gonna go when he first put down his first NG Bay. The second one is more tucked away, but the first one quite exposed against the Muta player. We're now all the way up to 29 Mutalisks. I think Clem is actually making too many Marauders. He's going very Marauder heavy, but I guess they're good at soaking up Banes. But if you have too much supply caught up in Marauders, it's a little risky. He cancels some of them, I think. Now going into the Ghost Academy. I don't know if you want to play Ghosts against Mutas, to be honest. They're still a decent unit, but there is no real transition here done for Reynor yet. He doesn't have Ultras coming, he doesn't even have 3-3 coming. Clem has found an opportunity to snipe another base, and he is going to get the job done. In the meantime, the Mutas are still flapping their little wings all around the map, constantly sniping units when Clem is not paying attention. Reynor decides to remake this base over here. Clem has decided to relent the command center over here too. Did he lose one? I guess he must have lost one. No, actually he didn't. He just must have repositioned it. Nice dodging right here of the Widow Mines. SCVs have decided to come back a little too early. There are 2 Widow Mines! Ooh! Hold up right now. What just... These 2 Widow Mines were not noticed. So, Reynor is trying to split off the targeted... I'm gonna slow this down, sorry. He split something off here. I thought that this entire Muta group was just about to go down. I missed it again. What? How did that not deal more damage? It's at 29 seconds. I think the Muta that was being targeted died? Yeah. Wow. I almost feel like Clem got a little unlucky there. I think the Widow Mine that just fired was targeting onto a Muta that had already died. So rather than that Muta clumping back up together with its brothers, yeah, the Widow Mine just sort of popped in the middle of the air. I thought what happened there for a second the first time around was that Reynor had picked out the one Muta that was being targeted out of the bunch and then immediately split it off. But, okay, he got a little lucky there. The Muta was already dead. Big attack right here from Clem. Very efficient fight for Clem. Does get the council on that base one more time. In the meantime, though, the Mutas are picking up whatever they can. There's plenty of Mutas now to one-shot the mines before they detonate. He's still making Mutas. He's gonna go back up to 32 here. Okay. A ghost is coming up. Another command center is building. We'll see another one. That's one that was built inside of the main base. Flying on over towards the third as well. So where do you go from here, Reynor? Do you just go into more upgrades of more Mutaling Bane? Do you go into Ultralisks? I don't think you go Ultras. But I also don't think you go Mutaling Bane. Clem is still maxed out. In a straight up fight, his army certainly destroys that of the Zerg. But maybe Reynor's plan is to never take straight up fights. He's found another great opportunity over here to kill a bunch of economy of the Terran. Clem is advancing as well on creep, but he needs to be careful. There could always be burrowed banelings, there can always be banelings rolling into your army, so he can't be moving at the same speed of those Mutas. Looks like he's found another base. Couple Mutas here, okay, do get detonated on, but all very much so replaceable. Reynor decides to start up 3-3 together with Adrenal Glands in the meantime at home. These are very important upgrades. They're actually very late. 15 minutes in? Like, normally those upgrades start at like minute 8 or so. +3 air attacks as well. Huh. Yeah, normally those upgrades are substantially earlier. This base, though, Clem has been doing a phenomenal job denying it over and over and over again. Reynor has taken another expansion in the far top left. Zergling run by in the meantime over on the right side of the map. Looks like we can do a little bit of attempted magic boxing right there against the Thor. But before the rest of those Mutalisk's glaives could connect with the Thor, a medevac came in clutch and picked it up. A couple of Zerglings are burrowed over here. A couple of Banelings attempted to be morphed in. I love that play right there. But also very good defense once more here by Clem. He saw that coming in from a mile away. But that is one of those cheeky little plays that you may just end up missing. Burrow a couple Zerglings, unburrow 2 of them, morph in Banelings. Hope you get a lucky hit. Speaking of Banelings though, we're making more. Right over here on the right side of the map. Okay, now, there are burrowed Banes set up now. I think that's a no-brainer. How in the world is Reynor ever going to fight a maxed out army of Clem? Clem is quite split up. Those Thors are trying to target fire down the clumps of Mutas. Widow mines, I mean, they're set up everywhere. It's a literal minefield out here. Reynor has managed to shut this down relatively well so far. He's gonna remax again with even more Zerglings. Wouldn't be surprised if he's gonna add on like 14 more Mutas here in a little bit, but he's primarily making Zerglings for now. In the meantime, there's a Ling run by as well on the right side of the map. No planetary fortress set up on those newly acquired expansions. And Clem loses even more workers. He's now all the way down to just 23. Okay. I mean, this has been going so much better for Reynor than I ever thought it was going to be. I'm still afraid that we're, exactly like that, going to see the Widow Mines absolutely destroy the clump of Mutas. 14 Mutas, just like that. Yeah, he had 1,400 gas, 1,400 minerals. Decided to hold down the button. I thought he was going to do that a little earlier. Oh, God. Well, honestly, at this point, I think there's plenty of Mutas to just fight all of the Marine clumps. Straight up. Like, there's this weird moment where, like, if you have 8 Mutas going up against 8 Marines, the Marines actually get a very cost-efficient trade. But if you have, like, 18 Mutas going up against, like, 18 Marines, sometimes it doesn't really quite work out that way. Especially since the Mutas all clump up together. The Marines oftentimes can't really get within range. They have to do a little bit of walking and stuff, and they just sort of die before they even get close because of that tiny little bit of splash damage that the Mutalisks deal. An Infestor is on the production tab too. I mean, the fungal growth potential is real. I love the sensor towers right here from Clem, but he doesn't have a fast enough army to really respond. At this point, the Mutas can, just right-click onto a command center, and they'll be out of here. Now, once more, though, they do fly over a clump of Marines. Not that many of those units ended up going down. Another Zergling run by over in the third base location of the Terran. Is Reynor actually doing this with Mutas? I can't even really tell if he's being serious about this, you know? Like, this almost feels like it almost feels like he's trolling a little bit. But he's making it look really strong. Now, is it strong because Clem never plays against this, or is it actually strong? That's what I'm wondering about. Because this is a very uncommon style in 2024. I think he's doing it. I think he's doing it. He's playing exceptionally quick. 737 average actions per minute. Every time Clem makes a move forward, there's about 3 attacks on his side of the map too. And now these infestors, I mean, if there's one thing that Clem is not thinking about, it's infestors. I think one fungal growth can be the end of this game. One fungal growth to allow all of those Banes to catch up. I mean, he hasn't shown any late game tech, Reynor that is. So I don't think that, other than, I guess, ooh, maybe these Widow Mines can get something done? Wow, there's so many Mutas now. Yeah, other than, I guess, the burrowed Banelings, there's a very good chance that Clem is not gonna start pre-scanning all too much, especially in locations where he's got Widow Mines already burrowed. Reynor has been gobbling up the entire left side of the map. The creep spread is not quite where you would like it to be. Clem has been doing a phenomenal job in that department, making it difficult for Reynor to really get as much vision as he is used to. Here's the Infestor once more, though. Muta's on the right side of the map trying to be annoying. I think he's ready to throw it in. I don't know if he's got enough. Okay, Banelings here getting a reasonable trade. All of the Mutas, though, are on the other side of the map. There's the big fungal right as I look away. Absolute classic. Oh, sorry. I gotta look at that fight again. Reynor actually had one of his Zerglings targeted by this Widow Mine, I think is what it was. And then that Widow Mine, I think it deals friendly fire. Not bad whatsoever. In the meantime, the Lings and the Banes are running up the ramp as well into a choke point. The Infestor is gonna get sacrificed for the greater good. But Reynor actually holds on. I'm surprised he even took that fight without the Mutas. These Mutas have been threatening, I guess. And they've been forcing Clem to move his army towards the right side, but... yeah, I think there is a little bit of improvement we could see here from Clem, to be honest. He's been going very orbital heavy, but I think some of those outer bases should have definitely been planetaries the first time around. I also think the Ghost transition has been a little unnecessary. Liberators are all good as well if you can ultimately get there, but the trades have been a bit too suboptimal, I think, here from Clem. I also think his NG Bay positioning actually kind of made it a bit more difficult for him. I love how he's positioning those Widow Mines, though, constantly out of line of sight. They leave behind the little pothole, but obviously if you put them behind the structure, you can't really see. The thing is, Clem is playing a late game unit composition now. He's trying to go Ghosts together with like Liberators and all the rest of it, but he doesn't have any money anymore. He's only sitting at 46 SCVs, and he lost 108. He lost 108 Muta, or sorry, Mutas, 108 Zerglings. No, what? You know what they're called, SCVs. We have almost 100 Mutas in this game. I wouldn't mind seeing another round of them, that'd be nice. I've played this game for a little while. I know the unit names. Did you know, and I didn't actually know this for many, many years, but did you know that SCV means Space Construction Vehicle? It took me about 10 years of playing this game every day. It means Space Construction Vehicle. I had no idea. Anyways, Clem is still maxed out. So this is not over yet. Widow Mines, or I mean Zerg Widow Mines. There they go. Yeah, we scan now. Should have been a little earlier, Clem. Nice scan. That was a scan like there was lag involved or something, man. We were about 4 seconds late on... Okay. I think Clem is very soon gonna have to put all of his eggs in one basket. Now, there was a little medevac drop over here. Apparently a cheeky little Widow Mine run by. Not bad at all. This base has been continuously denied here. That's actually making this game still quite dangerous, though. One thing that Reynor doesn't have is a lot of gas. So he's sitting at 5,000 minerals, sure. He's got 600 gas, sure. But this is really not that much. If you look at the total cost of his army right now, it is 4,000 gas plus. And it's not like he can just lose these units to a couple Widow Mines and then instantly remake it. Clem also has very few SCVs in total right now. Or as a wise man once called them, Zerglings. He's got very few Zerglings right now, so his army is massive. A couple of snipes are going off as well. Okay, Zerglings managed to run in as well and actually join in this fight, and that makes the MUTA stand up a lot better against that bio bull. Clem decides to make the long trek all the way back home. Another Widow Mine trying to get some damage in, but the adrenal glands lings are not messing around and they actually snipe it fast enough. Oh my god, I think Reynor is actually doing this though. Incredible. I haven't really seen anybody play Mass MUTA all year. It's been a while. Pro gamers have been trying to find an answer against this, well, Terran playstyle for a very long time now. This mass expansion, mass late game focused style. And maybe playing the most mobile army is just the way to do it. Playing the most mobile army and having 776-ish APM. Yeah, that would be nice. Now we finally have an Ultra Cavern. A 25-minute Ultra Cavern is actually insane. I think it's mostly due to the fact that Reynor is getting to a point as well where he is actually running out. So he doesn't have much mining anymore. And he needs something that's a little bit more sustainable. But you know what? This might just be the killing blow here. He finds a ton of the Terran army inside of the main base once again. The Mutas are gonna go after the Medivacs. And those Medivacs have been the lifeline here of Clem for a long, long time. A couple of the Mutas on the wrong control group, or maybe just... well, no, I think they are on the right control group. They're just flying straight through all of these structures as they are, well, trying to join up with the main pack. Another Ling run by over on the right side. Liberators are nice and all, but they don't kill the Zerglings fast enough. Insane. So as Clem slowly but surely goes all the way back down to Mass Marine, that is when the Ultras come out. When he can no longer... only blew up 2 of the Banes there. He only blew up the ones he needed. As he's running out of minerals and gas, that is when the Ultralisk comes out. The Ultra is terrible against Liberators. It's terrible against, well, most things Terran in the late game. But it's really good against Marines. And now that Clem has been forced to go all the way back down to Marines, that's when the big boys come out. Reynor manages to get it done, making about 100 Mutas in a single game. Apparently Clem wasn't all too happy with that loss. Yeah, word on the StarCraft street has it that he actually smashed his desk. So, a little bit of frustration. The 1 week you're earning $450,000 in a single tournament, and the next week you are smashing your keyboard because you're angry over the video game you've just become the world champion in. Emotional game, but very nicely done, of course, there by Reynor. It's one of those strategies, right, that isn't quote-unquote supposed to work. It isn't supposed to be something that's viable. But it still works. It's a very fast-paced game, obviously. And I think that's the only way you can really make Mutalisks work. If you play Mutas like they are Hydralisks and you just sort of sit there and occasionally attack, you can't get anything done in the long run. Reynor very much so knew which fights he could take and which fights he couldn't, and he constantly danced around the main Terran army. I think the way that feels for Clem is he's going around his bases and he's constantly trying to chase down those units, but they never actually give him a straight up fight. And then when he ultimately has a decent army, then suddenly the Chompers come out. There's burrowed Zerglings and Banelings all over the map. Zerg's vision, yeah, is through the roof, even without the creep spread. Okay, so what do we do on Crimson Court? Well, this is considered to be a very nice Terran map. What exactly is Reynor's plan? Lately, a lot of Zerg players have been going for all-ins here. So they've been going for the forward base. They use the Rich Vespian Geyser to do a Roach Ravager all-in, or, for example, a quick, a quick early game Queen drop. Clem is actually checking whether or not these minerals are being mined. As soon as the SCV is done checking, that's when the minerals are gonna get mined. Fair enough. Yeah, I've always sort of joked that I feel like I'm not fast enough to play Mutas. Because I've tried playing Mutas many times myself, but I always run into an APM limitation. And I've reached Grandmaster League many times, and I still don't feel like I'm good enough to play Mutalisks. It really feels like it is only something you can do if you are in the absolute upper echelons of StarCraft 2. If you have so much speed that you can still dedicate like 200 actions every single minute to a single unit. That's when it feels really good, but it is yeah, when it comes to flying armies, I prefer Skytles. That is my flying army of choice. I can kind of sit there, drink some coffee at the same time, occasionally execute an A move and all that. Like, the difficulty with Skytles comes from the spellcasters that are not actually Skytles. Those are on the ground. It's an entirely different story. But with Zerg, yeah, the air units are difficult to control. Anyways, it's once again a very fast lair. What are we gonna... no, this time around we are gonna do something a little different. This is a much faster pneumatized carapace this time around, and there is no second gas geyser taken yet. So I think this is the build that Reynor recently executed, where he's gonna go for a queen drop with a Zergling flood. It's a straight triple CC opener here once more for the Terran. This is Clem almost going a little bit on autopilot here. There's the drop alert. It's gonna finish right around the same time as the pneumatized carapace, so that's the Overlord speed upgrade. Reynor doesn't have a ton of gas, but he's got enough to bring all of the queens towards the other side of the map. It's gonna just be a ton of Zerglings on the back of this too. This is what the Hellions are looking for, by the way, right now. The Hellions are trying to figure out where the queens will head. And yeah, he wants to hide that, that group of Overlords here. So there they go. Now, Clem is gonna get the heads up. Now he knows what he is playing against. He also knows that there's gonna be a ton of Lings on the back of this too. If these Hellions get surrounded like they did in that game on Ghost River, this could be a disaster. 2 Hellions immediately get surrounded. The other 4, though, have now finally made their way back home. Clem can actually lose all of the SCVs here. It's not a problem because he's got triple CC on the back of this. He's going Cloak Banshees too, but obviously with a Lara, you can very easily make an Overseer as Zerg. Here's the Queens. They do need a little bit of creep before they can use their transfusion ability, so that's why these Overlords are here, to drop a little bit of creep too. There is one of the Overseers showing up. Oh my god, and just like that, I think Clem may just be a little bit tilted. It's Reynor who wins 2-0 over the new world champion. Reynor was the only player who managed to win any games against Clem at the Esports World Cup. They played a series that was relatively close, but other than that, Clem did not lose a single map. I think that we may have the old rivalry back in full force once again.